Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're feeling completely overwhelmed by the cluttered, incredibly fast-moving AI video landscape right now in 2026, trust me, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're slicing right through all that marketing hype. We're going to uncover the absolute best tools actually on the market right now, based on hard data. We'll break down their specific superpowers, figure out how to actually survive their free tiers without getting scammed, and finally, I'm going to hand you a blueprint to literally automate your entire production pipeline. Let's get into it. So here is the million-dollar question, right? Which AI video generator actually works in 2026? Well, it's kind of a trick question because the reality is not all of these tools do the same job. They're running on completely different underlying models, and they're built for entirely different outputs. If you just guess wrong based on some flashy headline on Twitter, you're going to burn through your budget and your time before you even start creating anything usable. So, the crucial point we need to understand is exactly what this quote from our sources highlights. Picking the wrong one costs you time and money before you get a single usable clip, period. If you've ever been super frustrated because you generated this blurry 5-second clip when what you really needed was a crisp 60-second cinematic sequence, well, consider this explainer your ultimate practical blueprint to stop wasting those precious credits and start building actual professional workflows. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. First, we're looking at the heavyweights. Second, ecosystems and speed. Third, surviving free tiers. And fourth, the full automation blueprint. All right, let's dive right into section 1, the heavyweights. Looking at the latest data, there's a really clear takeaway here. There is absolutely no overall winner. It doesn't exist. Google VO 3.1, that is your master of cinematic realism, pushing out incredible 120-second clips. Kling 3.0 is the undisputed king for photorealistic humans. And Runway Gen 4.5? That's your VFX powerhouse for total, granular creative control. You've got to pick the tool based on the job you're doing, not the hype you're reading. Let's take a closer look at Google VO 3.1. If you are producing, say, a 16:9 cinematic brand piece, or maybe a really deep dive YouTube explainer, this is absolutely your ultimate powerhouse. Its natural language comprehension of actual cinematic terms, like if you ask it for a Dutch angle or a rack focus, is unrivaled. Plus, it generates native audio right out of the gate and allows for massive 120-second clips. And you can get to it through Google AI Pro or as a selectable model right inside Adobe Firefly, which is just brilliant if you're already living in that Adobe ecosystem. Now we see a really interesting shift in focus with Kling AI 3.0. If your video needs actual humans walking, talking, reacting naturally, Kling 3.0 is the definitive choice, hands down. Its lip syncing and natural gestures are just miles ahead of everything else right now. It features a 15-second narrative mode, and get this, a specialized Omni mode that strictly locks in character consistency from a reference image. Because of that, Kling 3.0 has basically become the absolute workhorse for agencies churning out 9x16 TikToks and Instagram Reels. Rounding out the heavyweights, we have Runway Gen 4.5. Now, this one is built strictly for the director. It features this multi-motion brush that is frankly a total game changer. You aren't just typing into a prompt box here, you literally paint directional vectors right onto your image to tell the AI exactly which parts of the frame to move and exactly how to move them. It definitely has the steepest learning curve, for sure. But if you want granular VFX control rather than just crossing your fingers and hoping the AI guesses right, Runway offers the absolute highest creative ceiling. Moving right along to section 2, ecosystems and speed. So it turns out there are now over 600 models available on aggregators like WaveSpeed AI. They've really emerged as a professional juggernaut this year. Through their unified API, you get exclusive access to heavyweights like ByteDance's Kling 2.0, CDAN's V3, which is amazing for incredibly stylized music videos, and Alibaba's WAN 2.6 for those hyper-clean e-commerce product videos. It's essentially an ecosystem that gives you the exact right model for whatever job you're doing, all under one single roof. And within these new ecosystems, speed is now a primary feature. It's not just an afterthought anymore. I mean, we used to wait 5 to 10 minutes for legacy systems, like the early stable video stuff, to render just a single clip. Today, tools like LTX2 running on local RTX hardware or CDance up on the cloud, they are churning out 1080p, highly complex clips in 15 to 45 seconds. That completely changes your creative feedback loop. Think about it. You can test 4 different prompt variations in the time it used to take just to render a single one. All right, let's jump into section 3, surviving free tiers. Okay, you really have to understand the reality of free access here because it basically falls into 3 strict archetypes. Archetype 1 is the one-time grant. Think of Runway giving you 125 credits forever. Once they're gone, they are gone. Archetype 3 is stuff that's gated inside broader subscriptions, like Canva. But what you really want to aggressively hunt for is Archetype 2, daily recurring credits. Tools like Kling and Seedance, they give you fresh credits every 24 hours. That right there is the holy grail for fueling a daily zero-cost creative feedback loop. In fact, this combination right here is basically the ultimate free tier survival kit. If you absolutely need 1080p output with zero watermarks for, say, a commercial social post, Seedance gives you exactly that for free using their daily credits. But if you need to test out native audio and human motion, Kling 3.0's daily login credits are honestly the most generous in the entire industry right now. You really want to use these two in tandem. When we put all of this together, it builds into a really highly practical testing matrix. If you want the highest quality benchmark, generate your very first draft over in Veo 3. Need that draft published without a watermark? Move right over to Seedance. Doing complex multi-shot storyboarding? Test it out in Kling. And if you need heavy masking and post-generation control, take those final assets into Runway. The big takeaway here is, do not waste your limited credits forcing one single tool to do absolutely everything. Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, the full automation blueprint. All right, it is time to scale up from tedious, manual, one-by-one prompting to a magnificent zero-touch generation system. First up is this brilliant underground workflow known as the Auto Whisk hack. Normally, generating images for a 50-scene video takes hours of just mind-numbing copy-pasting of prompts. But with the Auto Whisk Chrome extension, you drop in all your scene prompts at once, it essentially takes over your browser, bulk generates all 50 scenes instantly, enforces 100% character consistency using style reference boxes, and then automatically downloads and numbers every single image right into a local folder. It is completely hands-free, and best of all, it's completely free. But if you really want to take it to the absolute limit, here is the ultimate end-to-end blueprint. Check this out. You start with just a simple idea typed into a Google Sheet cell. That triggers a background automation where OpenAI writes your script and your image prompts. Then PapAI generates the images, and Clang turns those images into video. Meanwhile, 11 Labs voices the script. Then Creatimate automatically stitches the video, the audio, and the captions all together. Finally, Upload Post pushes that finished video complete with AI-written descriptions straight out to TikTok, Reels, and LinkedIn. Literally from a spreadsheet to fully published, with zero manual effort. It's wild. So we've covered the heavyweights, we've navigated the ecosystems, hacked our way through the free tiers, and built a fully automated video factory. The technology itself is no longer the bottleneck here. Your imagination is. So armed with all these 2026 tools and blueprints, what are you going to automate first?